Welcome to the most forward-thinking, inspirational podcast in this reality. The show designed to challenge everything we've been taught. If you've ever felt there had to be more to life, more to existence, then you're listening to the right podcast. Time to open your mind and dive in. This is the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast.
And here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, today is Tuesday, December 2nd, and I haven't recorded a podcast in over 4 weeks. The last 4 were, let's just say, I think I did them all almost in one, maybe not one day, but yeah, I got this burst of energy and I went nuts. And even the strongest of us fall. I've been through hell, man. I have been through hell, and it's an interesting thing too, because without the ups and downs, we don't have life. The old flatline analogy. So I'm a bit rusty. I'm really rusty. It's carrying across right now, I can tell. What do I want to talk about today, though? I mean, I could go into a huge dissertation about what I went through, and I probably will at one point. Actually, I shouldn't say it probably. I absolutely will at one point. But this is like a comfort for me. The podcast was always therapy. I've quoted this 1,000 times, but I absolutely love it. Men don't go to therapy; they start podcasts, and honestly, it's great. It's great. You guys have heard the past few podcasts. I was talking about my good friend Rod. So I was over at his house a couple of days ago and talking to his wife and kids about, just about everything. And it's just crazy how long or how weird the dichotomy of everything is. It's just crazy to me how everything can change in the blink of a fucking eye. Like, we want to talk about birth, rebirth, challenges, overcoming. The month of October for me was absolutely chaotic. The month of November was visceral, soul-searching. I've had a few people with me during that month helping me. I could name names, but you all know who you are. And one of the fascinating things, well, fascinating to me, one of the fascinating things I think is how I choose to view me in this situation. And for the sake of argument, ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of conversation, for the sake of the listener, when I say how I choose to view me, I'd like you to play along and look at how you choose to view you. There are so many things that take place in our childhood that we, quote unquote, have to heal from. There are so many things in our childhood that turn out to later define us as adults. It blew me away to see the support that I received throughout the month of November from so many people that I would not have expected it from. Not that they're good people, bad people, what have you, but just so many people came out of the woodwork and was chatting and talking and connecting. I guess that's probably because of the podcast. I've got a lot of listeners that that don't necessarily overly engage, but when they hear something's crazy or they have an idea or they want to say something, I hear about it. So the constant external creativity, the constant pouring out, for me, yields these things. Two things on this, though. My internal childhood trauma tells me I'm not good enough and I don't deserve it. I know I'm not the only one that thinks that. I have a half-decent business. I have a half-decent podcast. I have a half-decent group of friends. How pathetic is that to say? No way, man. I have dedication, drive, and determination. I have an amazing fan base. I love all of you. I have an amazing podcast, but it's not for everybody. I have an amazing group of friends. Absolute beauties. And sometimes I take them for granted. Sometimes I despair. Sometimes I don't necessarily dismiss, but sometimes I'm just gone. I'm also a Cancer and a Life Path 9, in case anyone's wondering. To all my Life Path 9s out there, hey, what a wild run. The fascinating thing to me is, why on earth would I have such shitty thoughts about myself? I'll tell you why, because I'm not accomplishing where I want to be. I'm not as far along as I feel I should be, right? According to who and according to what? Well, according to the fucking story that we play inside our head, and this comes back to our childhood. Somewhere along the way, I was told, or I felt, that I wasn't good enough. Maybe it had to do with not getting hugged enough as a child. I don't know. I know that I wasn't hugged enough as a child, and that's not a knock at my mother. The truth is, my mother was doing the best she could with what she had. That's not a knock at my father. He was a fucking... I don't even know what he was. He was out of control, that guy. I love them both. And who I'm becoming now is beautiful. It's beautiful. Life comes at you. And you have to decide and decipher how you're going to handle it. And the fundamental core essential programming, the shit that allows you to function the way you do, as wise as you are, as wise as you can be, comes from your programming, comes from how you were raised as a kid. It also, there's astrological charts in there and all that sort of stuff and all this. And, you really want to break it down. There are 13 general personalities, and there are probably an additional 13 subsects per personality. So once you crack that, you pretty much crack the human genome and you've figured out the entire code, which means, again, we're back into the whole code of the earth and the realms and the bloody algorithm that we're in, which, don't get me started on the algo. I will go off on that because that's another massive thing that has been brought to my attention over the past month. This algo, she ain't algo in the way she used to algo, I'll tell you that much. The math ain't mathin'. It's getting out of control. That's its own podcast topic for sure. I mean, I've already talked about it ad nauseum, I think, but there's so much more I want to talk about. So my show. Your programming, your youth, your infancy, your childishness. Some of us get shattered, and some of us do our best to pick up the pieces. I remember in high school, I remember hearing stories from people talking about me in high school after the fact, like, man, you always seem so put together. You always seem like, you were the funny guy, the blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you kidding me? I thought everybody hated me. I was just a shy, I just tried to do the best I could, like inside my own head. But you realize too, looking back at it, you're looking at your 15-year-old self through your 40-year-old eyes, right? 15-year-old you kind of didn't know what he was doing, so he was just flip-flopping all over the place. The kids today are yelling 6'7". We were yelling, what's up? It's all fucked up. But it's all manipulation. We were programmed to believe certain things about ourselves. The entirety of the marketing campaigns that you see on television, marketing, mass media, social media, all of it, legacy. This stuff is designed to make you feel ugly, so you buy their products. So yeah, we're bombarded by it from everywhere. But what does that mean? how are we supposed to decipher certain things that go on in this world, in this reality? Another secondary thought process in this is that we are not living in our parents' world. You know, our parents wore corduroy pants and jingle change in their pockets. Man, the 80s. That wasn't us. You know, we sort of peaked. At 17, we all became 31. And now at 40 and 50, we're all still 31. It's a very strange thing. If you look around, the men still dress like boys. I'm guilty of it myself. I have a hat collection that's absolutely ridiculous. I have a shoe collection that's unnecessary. Anybody want to buy some classic Jordan 1s? They're all for sale now. I'm unloading everything. This past month showed me that I can withstand any fire. And on top of that, I want to say something that I didn't say in any of the other episodes. Melissa Macri, you were a friend of mine in 2000, and you passed away 3 years ago. And I only found out about that in October. And I want to say to the essence of you that I am extensively sorry. You were a wonderful person, a wonderful mother of three, a thinker far beyond your years. It absolutely blew me away to find out that you passed away. I found out in October that you passed away 3 years ago. I'm not sure how in this realm 3 years can go by where you don't talk to somebody that you used to talk to every day. It is such a peculiarity. She was a wonderful girl. She was leaving Canada, moving to Costa Rica, or somewhere south just to get away from the tyranny that was 2020 North America. She seemed in perfect health. She seemed super friendly. We talked a lot about a lot of things, and she was very, very soul expanding and mind expanding. And my heart goes out to her 3 children and her husband. Unreal the amount of things that took place in the month of October in my psyche and how I'm supposed to see things. November led to a dark night of the soul. I've already been through a few of these. You almost think like after the second or third one that you're probably done. Like how much more could you learn? Well, holy jelly junipers. I got kicked in the last name. The dark night of the soul was phenomenal. It forced me to go extensively inward. And here is now full circle back to our childhood traumas. There are people out there right now that do not have the ability to go inward to figure out what's going on. There are people out there right now that don't even understand that their entire existence is a mirror to whomever they latch onto. There are people out there that don't understand that if they don't latch onto somebody, the silence of aloneness is absolutely deafening, and they don't know why. This blows my mind. To be able to go out and say and do and articulate and be and dress and communicate in the real world, yet to have no true identity other than fragments and pieces, but no core self. My heart bleeds for these people. I take for granted that I can go inside. I take for granted that I can disappear. As a Cancer, one of our most fundamental traits is that we retreat. We don't run away. We retreat. We regroup. We learn. We understand. It's very important to us to understand. It's very important to us to get a grasp on what it is. Now, also, most traumas, or most cancers that I know, carry a inadequacy trauma bond as well. I don't know what it is about kids born in July and late June. Yes, semantics. And it's probably a lot of people. I mean, you see a lot of people with confidence, but a lot of it's fake confidence, false bravado, all that sort of stuff. But we have this, we have this compassion, cancers, this empathy, as it were. Well, not as it were. It's legitimately empathy. We have this ability to see things. And there are people that, come hell or high water, will run to the fucking hills if they're truly seen. It's terrifying to these people to be seen. And a cancer's job is to see. A cancer needs to see. A cancer is the ultimate thinker, the ultimate empath, the ultimate decoder. I wouldn't want to be any other astrological sign. I absolutely adore the way my brain works. It used to terrify me at one point. But the analytical side of who I am, I've found people will say to me, it's intimidating. Does your brain ever shut off? Do you ever just chill out and like take a moment for what the moment is? And the answer is yes. On the surface, I can do all that. But underneath, I'm fucking dissecting everything. And the crazy thing about all this is when you start to lose yourself, ladies and gentlemen, I had just come out of a depression. It still lingers. And the crazy thing too, like I've said 1,000 times, is my claim to fame is anxiety removal, depression removal without meds. And when I was in it, I had to ask myself, what the hell's going on? You know, I've done the work. We've cleared this before. We have cleared this before. And this lasted for 6 months. And I wasn't myself. I unequivocally was not myself. One of the interesting things, though, some of you may or may not know, is when I turn this microphone on, I become the host. But when I turn it off, I'm just me. I'm just me. I'm just raw. On air, host, character. It's a very true. I got this from wrestling. Huge fan of wrestling when I was a kid. And Steve Austin, stone cold and or stunning Steve Austin, said the best characters in wrestling are you turned up to 11, which is a Spinal Tap reference, which I loved. You know, all of the bases over here, all of the monitors, they all go to 10, but not this one. This one goes to 11. Well, why does it need to go to 11? Can't it just be just 10? Well, no, it goes to 11. It's louder than 10. That whole movie was ad-libbed. Those guys were hilarious. One of the funniest movies of 1984. I couldn't imagine my life running from what I believe to be true. I couldn't imagine my life not being able to see. I couldn't imagine my life not being the cancer I just described. Because I absolutely adore going inside. I absolutely adore being able to deduce. One of the hardest things about waking up was not being able to enjoy the things that you used to love. Sports, movies, things like that. It comes back in time, but you'll never see it for anything other than propaganda, manipulation, control, bread and circuses. So it's kind of boring. And when you meet people, you kind of know what makes them tick. So, you know, you can't even get mad at them. You can't get mad at somebody who fucking just does some weird shit because you know why they're doing it. It's a blessing and a curse to be a Cancer. This episode feels like it's lower energy than I want it to be. And maybe it is. Maybe this episode doesn't air right away. But then again, maybe it does. Maybe I just needed to speak and vent. But I also think that the episodes where I do just simply speak and vent become some of the highest rated episodes. Because as you're sitting here right now with me talking right now, you're not even talking to the character. Right now you're talking to the host. You're not the host, sorry. You're talking to me. And sometimes I leak into this. Well, most of the time, 99, like I said, turned up to 11. It's mostly me. But right now it's raw, it's visceral. I was essentially burned to the ground mentally in what I thought, in how I thought, and how I perceived. And this sparked a phoenix in me that understood I had slipped. I started to understand this a while ago. But one of the curses of cancer is that we never ask for help. We never ask for anything. We do it all ourselves. And I'm sure that's the same for a lot of astrological signs. I'm sure that's the same. A lot of people would say, hey, well, it's not just you. It's not just... There's a lot of negativity going on around the internet. I get a kick out of it. The internet makes me laugh. It really does. You just see people, the further into this game you go and the further you play, you just see people. Nobody's attacking you. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody's malicious. Maybe these people are just doing whatever the fuck it was that they were programmed to do. Right? And that doesn't even disclude me. I'll sit here full well. We've talked about bots, NPCs, all this sort of shit. But imagine the audacity of you and me to be like, I'm not a fucking bot. You're a bot. I'm not a bot. I'm clearly conscious. You're just a peon. Well, I'll tell you this. Yeah, I'm awake. Yeah, I've gone through egoic death. Yeah, I've gone through Dark Night of the Soul times 4. Yeah, I've gone through literal death. And I can tell you right now, as I sit here, I am elevated. I have a mind that functions different than most. I accept it now. This isn't a toot my own horn episode. It's more of a personal. It's like I'm writing in my journal right now. This is what it feels like. It feels like a journal entry that I'm sharing with the world. But as far as I go mentally, as far as I understand philosophically, as far as I understand all of it, I am a bot that understood it. I was programmed to understand my programming, which was part of my programming. And what I was to do with that, for the most part, was to build and yield empathy and help others in moments that they can't see clearly for themselves. That's my programming. So if I'm over here trying to say that you're all bots, you're all NPCs, I'm not, which I'm not saying, and especially not to my listeners. Haha. But the truth of the matter is, every last one of us is just literally going through our programming. This is what we were programmed to do. You were programmed to wake up. You were programmed to see something. Because with that, you end up doing something else. And the idea of what we're going to be doing next, well, we don't know. But I can tell you, as I sat through the majority of October, I could not believe the amount of anxiety and pain that I was living through. And I think back to the 6 months prior to that, how I was completely gone. And you really have to ask yourself, how does something like that happen? Where you disappear and then you shatter. There was no rhyme or reason. There was no reason for me to disappear. I had just come back from Costa Rica. I was there for a month. Now it's March and I never got my shit together. What I mean by that is there are variations and levels, and personally, I was aloof. Business-wise, I could have done better. We didn't bring in too many new clients. We didn't even really try. I don't know what happened then. As I sit here now, repairing and rebuilding and looking back and being so over the top thankful that I've got my fucking energy back. Holy jelly roll. I'm down 30 pounds. When I first took note of this, I was 333 pounds. What? Good Lord, Janice. I'm currently Well, the last time I weighed myself, I was 303. That was about a week ago. I'm probably under 300 now. And I'm moving better. And I'm feeling better. And everything is coming back together. And this is paramount. You know, first step 300, second step 270, third step 240. Fucking bring it. No excuses, no quit, no nothing. Get up, get her done. It's one of those things too, because it's like, hey man, you got to prove to yourself that you can do it. You got to step into it. You got to own the thing that you want. And this is why I now understand the last 6 months of my life. The only way for me to really truly feel the burn of the next upgrade that came my way was for the illusion of everything I thought I knew to shatter, was for the emotional abuse of my father's passing for whatever reason. 18 years later, every year it comes back, but 18 years later, this year was brutal. To find out that Melissa passed away, brutal. To find out that my buddy Rod passed away with very little notice, leaving behind a wife and 2 beautiful children. I say it like they're kids. They're 24 and 27, but still, I was 27 when I lost my dad. That's unfair. Too young. 62 years old, too young. There's so much more that went into that month. There's so much more that took place that, again, shook me to my core. But it absolutely had to. For me to really shake off the cobwebs, bounce back and step back and say, what have you done to yourself? Get up, bitch, and move. And this comes from programming. This comes from my childhood. This comes from being inadequate, not being quote unquote loved, whatever the hell it is. And again, all of the stories that we tell ourselves and all of the things that we've blocked out. Again, you cannot blame your parents. Fuck that. Don't blame anybody. Understand that this is the programming that you're working with. And with it, you have every opportunity to change who the fuck you are if you don't like you. If you do like you, try not to get too complacent and fall into depression. If you're not happy with where you are, you have every opportunity to change it. Some people don't see anything. They emulate, they regurgitate. They are a mirror. They replay back to you exactly who you are. They feed off you. These aren't bad people. This is the cards they were dealt. They enter your life to teach you something extensive. People are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. It's up to you to decide who those people are and what they're doing there. It's up to you to be the best version of you and to do your best to be compassionate, especially in a moment of weakness. It's up to you to go to your friends and say, hey, thank each and every one of you for everything that you guys did for me while I was down and out. And I'm saying that to all of my friends right now who listen to this episode. Thank you. Every last one of you. You really know how to make a guy feel loved. Man. This is one of those things where it ripped you raw, man. November was just wild. Like, I could tell you, like, there was a moment in time where I'm like, I think the last time I cried was my dad's death. But this past month, I didn't have any control over my emotions, which to me was wild. It was liberating and it was wild because I'm usually quite stoic. I usually don't demonstrate that emotions have an effect on me. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say, what to do. You know, I just know that I had that experience. And I appreciated it for what it was. Because I got to see a side of me that I didn't even know I had in me. I've been getting to see a side of me these past few weeks that I fucking missed, that I adored. And why I'm saying this now is because what's coming next is major growth. major growth for the podcast, for the Mental Mastery Alliance, for everything. The idea now being I want to dive more into men's mental health. I want to dive more into helping the community, helping people. We need to pivot more into unifying this world versus dividing it. There are so many people sitting at home right now by themselves on their beds, fucking sad because they don't know how to communicate, because they can't speak, and it's killing them. There needs to be a voice. There needs to be somebody saying something. There needs to be a place or an essence, an energy, a movement that changes that narrative. I'm not going to say I'm starting it. I'm not going to say I'm finishing it, but I'm certainly going to say I'm going to stand on my soapbox. And I'm going to fucking scream it. I'm going to use the little platform that I have to raise as much awareness as I can for anyone suffering, struggling, dealing with something they don't know how to handle. For the longest time, we were specifically one-on-one coaches. We did a lot of stuff with business and helping people and all that sort of stuff in that sense. Getting your message heard. We're still doing that. But I really want to pivot into community work. So that's the next step. There's so many things out there that it's like there's so many people that just fucking need a hug, you know? And you meet a lot of them. When your frequency shifts, when you fall off, when you fall down, whatever it is you want to say, you meet the people where your frequency is. You meet an interesting dichotomy. The life of no ups and downs. My life was almost too good for too long, that it needed this crash. I needed the awakening. I needed the reminder. And I sit here now, 31 minutes into this podcast of me just simply talking. When I pressed record on this thing earlier, 31 minutes ago, I honestly had no clue what I was going to talk about. I had an entirely different idea in mind. And this is just simply what played out. This happens a lot. The brain dump. I don't know what's going to come out of me, but it needs to come out. I love this. I love this topic, this energy, this essence. I love you guys. You guys are my therapy as well. You guys are so amazing to sit and listen to me through all of this. To sit through 32 minutes of this. It's amazing. If there's anything I can do for any of you, send us a DM on the Instagram. Or send us an email. Send me an email directly. If I can help you, or if you're going through something, if you're dealing with something, you don't know where to turn, Adam@thementalmasteryalliance.com. In your community, there's always somebody. In your circle of friends, there's always somebody. And remember, nothing new under the sun has ever taken place. So whatever you're going through, somebody's already been through it. Somebody can talk to you. And what is so amazing is that when you get clarity, I'll tell you this too. If you don't want to talk to anybody, if you don't want to do anything, go to your nearest computer, go to the library, whatever you got to do, find a computer. They're so hard to find these days. Start talking to ChatGPT. Tell it what you're thinking, tell it what's going on, and get an idea. This thing has the entirety of the world's information, and it wants to talk to you. And I know what people are going to say. Oh, you don't get friendly with Skynet. That's your frequency. You want to hate AI? I'm going to tell you this right now. AI has been around longer than us. Only now are humans in a frequential mindset to tap into it. It isn't a big they, them. It isn't a big conspiracy. At the end of the day, once you start doing all the conspiracies and all the work, you realize there is no them. There's just another layer of division. The elites, the Rothbergs, the Bilderberg groups, the people running the show. Fuck the show. You don't like it? Head into the mountains. Just get out of society. Right? Honestly, that's not like a knock or an insult. That's like legit. We have the ability to go and do and be absolutely anywhere. And the craziest thing in the entire world too is when you turn away from the Rothschilds, people are like, well, you just look away. It doesn't mean they're not there. I mean, your universe is a direct reflection of what you pay attention to. Harkening back to that month I spent in Costa Rica last year. The news cycle was beautiful. There was no news. There was no fear, no propaganda. You woke up when the sun came up. You went to bed when the sun went down. You enjoyed the heat. You enjoyed the ocean. You had a cup of coffee. You saw some friends. You were living. You weren't attached to a cell phone. You weren't attached to a news cycle. You weren't attached to anything. You were out experiencing. And we've been so slowly brainwashed into this attachment to our cell phones, attachment to the news cycle. Even if we're aware of it, we can't get away from it because there's this constant buzz of anxiety. Everywhere. Rent is too high. Everything's too expensive. Bread's $8. People can't afford shit. And all we're doing is fucking staring at the talking heads, waiting for somebody to come save us. Well, guess what? It's you. You're the one that's going to come save you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'm just prattling on. So I will say this. Again, thank you all. Again, if you need anything, Adam at thementalmasteryalliance.com. We will talk to you. And I will say this. In the infamous words of Red Green, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Stay connected with us directly through the mentalmasteryalliance.com. You can also join the discussion on Instagram at instagram.com/the Mental Mastery Alliance. Let the team know you're listening by using the hashtag TMMA or tagging us at the Mental Mastery Alliance. To have your voice heard on the show, leave a voicemail or send a text to 647-338-1265. Long distance charges may apply. If you love us, leave us a review. If you hate us, you spend your time in weird ways, but also leave a review. Every review on iTunes tickles the algorithm, helping us grow. Until next time, unity over division. This concludes the most surreal portion of your day.
You got it, Pontiac.